workshop of the Pahokee City Commission, Tuesday, May the 30th, 2019, at 3 p.m. to order. May we please stand for the invocation given by Deacon Carl Morrison, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, we come this evening saying thank you for giving us this opportunity where the commissioners of this city can come together with concerns of the citizens to take care of the business of this city. We pray, Heavenly Father, that they be on one accord. We ask this through Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Babb.
Present.
Commissioner Boland.
Present.
Commissioner Everett.
Yes.
Commissioner Hill. Vice Mayor Mervin.
Present.
City Manager.
Here.
Interim City Attorney.
Here.
City Clerk. Present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners.
And Mr. Mayor, before you get started, I noticed that we don't have a public comment section unless you intend for it to be item number D. I didn't know if that was for commissioners or if it was for the public, but we do have to have some time on your agenda for the public to speak since it is a special meeting as opposed to a workshop.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll add that to the agenda.
Yeah.
When, okay. We're going to go ahead and add that to the agenda, and that would be,
It can be a part of D.
Yeah.
It can be, it's already a part of D. So
I
we
just
can
wanted to make sure that
Okay.
that was the intent.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the intent. Yeah.
okay, we'll have public comments, then we'll have our commissioner comments or concerns immediately following that. Okay. And let's look at this. Just we probably need to give them an opportunity to speak on an item prior to our discussion and vote, so we can have.
That is your choice, Mr.
Right.
Mayor.
We'll do that. So we'll allow citizen comments on agenda items at the beginning of the agenda. Okay. Huh?
We didn't get in.
Okay, I don't know if they had the opportunity or knew that we were going to allow that. So for anyone in the audience, if you want to speak on any of these topics, agenda topics, please fill out a comment card, and we'll include that in your comments.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Again, thank you, City Clerk, thank you, Commissioner, thank you, staff, and thank the public for being here to participate in our special call meeting. The purpose of this meeting is to discuss the following agenda items. We have approval of a grant renovation construction contract consisting of 2 resolutions, and then we have the approval of the resolution for the interim legal services. At this time, I'm just, before we go into each individual topic, give the city manager just an opportunity to highlight what we'll be reviewing. And of course, our legal attorney will be going in a little more in-depth, just for an overview of the items that we're going to be discussing, city manager.
Mayor, this is approval of grant renovations to Marina. That's phase 2. Long time coming, time to get it started. And of course, we're doing some additional security measures for the football field here that just was completed. That's for fencing. And those are the 2 projects, 2 contracts that we'll be approving. The last is just for interim legal services. We need a resolution formally approving those legal services on an interim basis. Thereafter, once you approve that resolution, of course, we can then send out our RLI or request for services after the 90 days, but not before then. So once that's done, we can start advertising for that. I know that was a directive, but you got to have this in place first. So we'll do that today.
Excuse me. Can I ask a question? I thought it was 90 days until we hired a new attorney.
It is.
Okay, I thought you just said that we can't send the thing out for 90 days.
We can't put it's more fluid to start the advertisement for proposals once you do your resolution for this interim attorney is in
I
place.
I
Yeah.
must have misunderstood
Understood.
what you said. Sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, thank you, City Manager. City Clerk, at this time, do we have any comments cards pertaining to agenda items?
Yes, sir. We have one from Mr. Bobby Coven in regards to the attorney's contract.
Bobby Colvin, 3096 Bacon Point Road. With the attorney contract that's coming up, I would sure appreciate it if there would be some consideration. You know, we just lost an attorney, basically a very split. I mean, it was basically 3-2 because Commissioner Hill had mentioned that she was against it. And Mayor, I don't know what your mental situation was that night, but I know you were on medication for broken jaw. I would certainly appreciate it if this commission would consider hiring our ex-attorney and avoid going through all of this other. All it would take is 3 votes, and that could easily happen. Thank you.
Thank you. And just for the record, Ms. Coven, I wasn't on medication. I refrained from it for 24 hours. I was in some pain in this conference, but yeah, normally you probably would, I probably would, but I knew I had a commission meeting, and legally you shouldn't be on any medication or making any binding decision for the city, but I appreciate that. Thank you.
27-19, 17.
Pardon me?
2019-17, first resolution.
Yes, right. I know. Okay, we'll now entertain our first resolution, Resolution 2019-27. City Attorney.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Florida, authorizing the mayor and the manager to execute an agreement between Climate Control Quality Aluminum Products, Inc., and the City of Pahokee related to invitation for bid 2019-01 for the installation of fencing, providing for an effective date.
Thank you, City Attorney. City Commission, having had Resolution 2019-27 properly read into the minutes, what's your pleasure?
Mayor, I make a motion to accept the resolution 2019-27A.
Second.
It has been moved by Vice Mayor Mervin and properly second by Commissioner Bowden for the adoption of Resolution 2019-27. Call for questions.
Yes, I have a couple. In this, I read that they're going to put barbed wire above. Is that going to go, where does the barbed wire go?
That was initial discussion. I think they probably left it out of the final being deleted, but there's no barbed wire. Remember in the last commission meeting, we thought about there was an area that we thought was a little bit more susceptible to being mitigated, and we wanted to put barbed wire in that area, but we decided against it because I thought it was just a bad look, so it's not in there.
Okay. And where is sheet number 3?
That was sheet number 3.
That was sheet
Yeah.
number 3?
That's
Okay.
that's sheet number 3 that was taken out. Correct.
Okay, so then in 8.6, what's the Florida Department of Transportation Economic Development Transportation Project Fund Agreement?
That's an oversight. That section shouldn't be in there. Typically, when we're doing our road and highway projects, there's that section in there that states that shouldn't be in there.
Okay, so we're going to take that out?
Yeah, it'll be deleted.
Okay. And then 8.7, does it have drawings?
Yes, the drawings are in your packet.
Those are those little hand
That's
drawings
correct.
is what you're talking
Yes.
about? Okay. All right. And why did we take out 8.9?
Excuse me?
8.9, contractors bid and bid bond? It's scratched through?
because it's just a fence for this particular project. It's something that particularly you're looking at bonds and the type of work that's being installed. We have insurance on it. We have a warranty. The bond for this wasn't really required for this type of installation of a fence.
Okay, that doesn't really make sense to me. Can you explain that, please? City Attorney?
Just what the city manager said. He did not believe that a bond was necessary because the provider does have insurance, and the insurance is attached to the contract. And for this type of work, probably the price point, I'm guessing his rationale did not necessarily warrant it.
And,
Okay.
and the work comes with a warranty as well.
Right, right, but it says contractor's bid and bid bond. But we have the contractor's bid as a part of this, correct?
Right. Yeah, you're reading.
Yeah,
that.
but-
Yeah, the bid language is referenced in other areas that.
Okay, so it's okay to take it out there and
It
it doesn't
is.
make any difference? Okay.
Yes.
And then, in 8.11, it says paragraph 3.04 and 3.05. Where are those?
Those relate to the RFP. That's a part of the contract itself.
Okay, thank you. 8.4. Okay, and the documents listed under Article 8 above on 8.12, except as expressly noted otherwise above, what does that mean?
That all of the documents listed in that Article 8 are attached, and unless it's something that says it doesn't need to be attached.
Okay. And 9.6, where it says the city commission of the city of Pahokee or its designated representative.
You said
Do we know who that
9.6?
is?
You said 9.6?
9.6, yes, sir.
9.6 reads, this agreement shall not become binding and effective until approved by the city commission of the city of Pahokee.
Or its designated representative.
Right.
If the city designated the manager to look at something else and until they, until the document was effective or until the agreement was effective, and then that would be the designated representative. However, if the city's intent is to approve it today, clearly it would be the city commission of the city of Pahokee initiating the document and the work.
Okay, and then under Article 13, 5.3, what's financial ratings that must be no less than A in the latest edition of Best Key Rating Guide published by the AM Best Guide?
Typically, that is the ratings that insurance companies use in order to issue insurance, and so, which tells you that it's a reputable company that you're dealing with. So this contract was a part, for the most part, of your initial RFP that went out. And so I'm assuming these are the contracts that you all use. This was what the bidders saw.
I don't know, I've never seen one
they're-
before. So.
Yeah, so they're supposed to ensure that whatever they're giving you as insurance meets this requirement. So they're aware that this language is in this document.
Okay, great. And then just one more. Article 16, it says a grant, a DEO grant to the city of Pahokee dated July 1st, 2017, agreement number HL081, and that's also referenced on the Slayton contract. So is this a grant?
This is this is information given to our office by the city manager, and so, Mr. Manager, if you can answer that, under grant compliance, Article 16.
Yeah, that should be a deletion.
So we're taking that out?
Should be for both. Yeah, that should be a deletion.
Okay. So for those two that need to be deleted, do we need a motion?
You would approve it subject to the,
To
a
those
change?
deletions?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, that was an oversight.
Okay, and then one other question. On the bid, it said 61.4, and on the contract, it said 56.
Right, that's the difference in taking out the bar sheet 3.
Okay,
It's $4,000 more dollars.
All right.
So it's actually 56.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any additional questions from the city commission? Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Boland,
Yes?
Commissioner Everett,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. The resolution 2018-27 passes by unanimous vote. Now we will entertain Resolution 2019-28. City Attorney.
Yes, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Florida, authorizing the mayor and the city manager to execute an agreement between Slayton Construction Corporation and the City of Pahokee for completion of a project entitled Phase 2 Repairs and Renovations Marina and related to invitation to bid 2019-02, providing for an effective date.
Thank you, City Attorney. City Commissioners, having had Resolution 2019-28 properly read into the minutes, what's your pleasure?
Can I make a motion to, accept resolution 2019-28?
Second.
It has been moved by Vice Mayor Mervin and properly seconded by Commissioner Everett for the adoption of Resolution 2019-28. Call for questions.
Yes, please. Some of these, I apologize, they may be the same because this contract kind of read the same. On 5.3, it says availability of funds, city's performance and obligation to pay under this agreement is contingent upon an annual appropriation for its purpose by the city commission. What does that mean?
It's just standard language saying if you all have the funding, it will, if you don't have the funding, it won't be available to the contractor to have. So you see it in many contracts that relate to governmental entities.
Okay.
Is that an addition? Is that something that has always been in previous?
I believe it was
contracts?
in your contract already.
And the only reason why I'm asking, because of recent vendor had been sending quite a few communications between himself and the city regarding pavement. And so I'm glad to know that that's in there and to see Mr. Williamson, if we can make sure that this particular vendor understands that language in there because of recent communication with a vendor in recent past about pavement and we having to wait on the state to release funding.
Yes, that would be relevant if it were in that particular contract regarding that vendor. So assuming it was in that contract, you can certainly exercise whatever rights you have under that language.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and then 8.6, it says drawings attached, which may or may not be attached. I guess they're not because there's not drawings.
Not yet. We got the engineers to do some additional drawings on that particular area. We'll have those probably in the next 72 to 120 hours. So no, they're not attached.
Okay. And then 9.6, we have the same thing. That's the designated resident. Okay. That's the same thing that was in the other one. 12.5. Oh. If a conflict exists between a City of Pahokee specification and FDOT specification, the city shall determine at sole discretion which specification applies. What
Yes,
does-
that may be,
That's up
it
to
may
you.
be some, in most cases, it's going to be FDOT's requirement, but let's just say there was an issue where the FDOT didn't, it said may, use may language, which was permissive for the city, and the city's language was more advantageous to the city, then the city would have the sole discretion to decide which one applied.
Okay, thank you. And then Article 13, oh, you already explained that one, I got it. Okay, and then just one last question. If the grant was for $990,000, if I'm correct?
Correct.
Yes, sir. Okay, and the bid is for $845,000?
Correct.
What do we do with the difference?
Oh, we have to spend the difference. I'm not giving it back to the state.
Right, I mean, why wouldn't we have just had them do more things and use up the difference?
Well, that'll be a discussion moving forward. That's why you have change orders. After you award an agreement, we may find things that are, may need some additional supplies or more work as intended, and that will come into a conversation in change orders. And typically, that's what you find with all bids, is that no one bids the exact amount. They either bid over or they bid less. And then throughout the time or the tenure of the project, if things come about where there has to be changes in change orders, meaning we have to spend more money, that's when that happens. So when I saw this bid, that was a comfort to me, because we may find areas that we have to expend more money in than intended in the bid, and that's when they will supply us with a change order.
But we only have like, what, 40 days or something?
Yeah, I
Before
think,
this grant is
just
up?
to kind of weigh in a
We'll be
little
fine
bit.
with the timeline.
Just to weigh in, the intent is to have the bidder comply consistent with his bid. So any changes regarding grant funding would have to come back to the city commission for further consideration. So-
Correct.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Any additional questions by the city commission?
I do have just one brief question with regards to, I know we have the 45-day window, and maybe I can follow up this question with some additional conversation with staff with regards to scheduling and planning. How is that in relationship to, I guess the fencing is, hopefully that's cut and dry, but with the plans with regards to the marina?
This is a state-funded project, and we are on a timeline to be done within the next 30 days, actually, as I alluded to in a couple other commission meetings. Typically, what the state does around this time is they give a call to all of their individuals or entities that have received grant funds, and they ask one question: what phase are you in, or what stage are you in? And once they understand the timeline, they then go back and assess all of the requests that they have for extensions. So that's what they'll do on June 1st. Actually, they've already asked us where we are, and we've already submitted our extension for a timeline, for a timeline extension. And it doesn't seem that we'll have any pushback on that from the state. We've done it many times before. The state understands that some projects do not start on time, some do not end as projected per the grant agreement, so they grant those extensions. So I'm pretty confident that, once we get this project going and they look at every project, they'll come back to us and grant us those additional days. I actually until mid-August, I think it was an additional 45 days from June 30th to complete this project. And so they'll be indicating to us whether that's going to be approved. I'm pretty sure it will, based on our conversations and relationship that we have with this particular State Department. We'll be just fine with the timeline being extended.
And not to belabor the point, but what I'm also, and I'm glad to know that the state has been generous with us in terms of extension. But what measures do we have in place since those extensions have been granted to us to just ensure that we are going as planned? Mr. Mayor and fellow colleagues, help me out.
Well,
I don't want to make this meeting any longer than it has to be, but just a question of making sure that we are sticking to the integrity of timeline project, because one of the concerns that was mentioned, and we all agreed, that we wanted to make sure that we have some type of a scheduling in place, that we know how these projects are wrapping up and being complete.
Well, in the packet,
completion.
you do have a schedule.
But that says
we-
August 15th for completion, correct?
Yeah, it does, because I projected what that extension would be. We projected what the extension would be. So you do have a schedule there. On top of that, we do have to report out our progress to the state ongoing in what they consider quarterly reports, but now would be much shorter than a quarterly report because we have only a couple of months left, or actually a month left. But we do have to report out where we are with this project to the state. And so that is more of a gatekeeping process that they have, that we have to provide officially through them in reports of what projects are being completed, at what timeline or what stage they're at. And that's how we, accommodate, providing them all the information they need to understand where the project is. So we have us as a city working with the contractor to ensure that they stay on schedule. And then we also have the state, requesting an update from us to ensure that we're staying on schedule as well. And you're welcome to those reports as we send them into the state as this project gets started. But that's their accounting system that they have to keep this project on task, even through the extension timeframe that hopefully they will grant. We still have to report out where we are with this particular project. And because we have such a short time frame, those reports will probably be more bi-weekly as we move forward to give them all the information they need to ensure, so they can be confident that we're on schedule.
One of the other key opponents, and you didn't mention it, but the commission had agreed that this would be a great idea to have some type of security as far as making sure that projects are on time, is the use of a project manager that would not only report back to you, but would report to this commission on a timeline that we could be assured that this project is going forward. So if you can kind of just touch base on that, who would that individual be, and basically his schedule of reporting back to you and
Right.
our.
We had a conversation with the awarded winner of this bid, and that was something that I knew would come up. And so what Slayton is going to do is provide us, project manager / actually engineer who's going to work along with Slayton to ensure that the schedule is appropriate, that we're reporting to me and Slayton at the same time to ensure that the project is kept on task. And so we had that discussion about, bringing someone aboard under their guidance, but that will report to us to ensure that the project is kept on schedule.
I think we had this conversation before, and I think our interpretation of what we considered, at least what I considered a project manager, would be a little different from, I think, what you're mentioning. I think all contractors have their own project manager. That's a person who's responsible for making sure that things are done and are done in a timely manner. But I was looking for us to have someone that report directly to us and that responsible for making sure that what's in this agreement is carried
Right.
out
Well,
and carried out
in
on this
reality,
timely
he
manner.
can report directly to me.
But that's the person
No.
working for the contractor.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor?
That, go ahead now.
It may have been contemplated by the manager at an earlier point, because it does say in the agreement, and it says throughout the agreement, it talks about a city's engineer. And so my understanding, I don't know if you all contract with a city's
We have-
engineer.
we have a city
But it
engineer.
does, the document does speak to a city engineer acting as assuming the duties and responsibilities and the rights and authority in connection with the completion of the work and reporting back to the commission, or
Right.
reporting back to the manager.
Right.
And if you all want it, we could, I'm sure.
Yeah, we need to
Yeah.
have that in there, because I don't
But
want.
it's already.
And if you want it, what I was gonna
But you didn't
say,
mention
No,
that.
it
That's
doesn't
what I'm
say it's
saying.
yeah,
And
coming to the
part
if
of-
you
commission.
want it, we could have that city engineer
Yeah.
report back to the commission
Yeah.
and
Yes.
the manager.
Yeah. Yeah,
Since
part
it-
of it is sometimes we have a breakdown in communication that need to be clear. The language need to be clear. We need to know who is gonna be our point person. Of course, you have the city manager involved in it, but when you have a project manager, that kind of take up some of this slack from the city manager. And we'll make sure this project don't get behind.
And
Right,
can
and
we-
it talks about a city engineer like a couple of times throughout the agreement, and so it maybe, it may have been forgotten because it may have been put out a while ago, I don't know, but this document does contemplate a city engineer
Yeah.
being very
Yeah,
involved.
our city engineer will be on site, either way.
And
Is that-
making
that's A&E?
approvals, and making approvals of work as work is completed, this document contemplates.
Okay, can we have him send us an email like once a week? Because this is a pretty short time frame, and we're only going to have maybe 1 or 2 meetings before it's over.
I would like to, and I would suggest even in addition to an email, what I was more so thinking is if we could have somewhat of an update here at the meeting.
Well, yeah, I meant in between.
Yeah, so that, not only will we be informed, but maybe that the community and the public could hear, firsthand information
So that is
regarding how the project is proceeding.
Right.
Yes, sir. So that information is something that the manager can communicate directly with the city engineer about. That wouldn't necessarily go in this document. This document just tells them that a city engineer will be approving and being involved, but the manager can tell the city engineer, we want you to come to every meeting or whatever it is that the city wants. So that doesn't have to go in this document.
So do we just instruct staff to do that? How does it work?
Yes, you could.
Okay. So do we need a motion to do that, or we just
Make a-
instruct them to do it?
Make a motion.
Okay.
You have a motion on the floor ready for this agreement.
But once we approve the
So
agreement,
once
then
you
we can
approve
follow
the,
up.
yes.
Once we approve
Okay.
this agreement, we just follow up with a motion
Okay.
directing staff.
I just have one more question. While they were talking, I thought of another question. This grant was given to us when? When did we qualify for the grant?
The state legislature awarded this money in the session of 2018.
Okay. And we got the money when?
They actually gave us physically a wire transfer in the March.
Okay. And wouldn't it be better next time if we don't wait till the last second to go out for bid and have to go through all this and worry about getting an extension? Can't we go out for a bid once we get awarded the grant and then just make it contingent upon getting the money?
You can, but if you don't have any money in the bank,
That's why I said
kinda
contingent.
advantageous to do early if you don't have any money to pay for anything. Because once you start going out for bid, and that bid gets ahead of that money being wire transferred, and you got to start paying folks, you need to have that money in the bank first.
But that's why I said contingent upon getting the money. Then that way we're not up against it. If the money comes in, then we can go right to work. It would seem to me like better than maybe, like Commissioner Everett said, we have to worry now that they've always been really nice and extended, but what if they didn't?
Yeah, that's something to think about in the future. I would agree with that.
I didn't want to think about it. I wanted to make sure we get it done.
Well, we're at where we at with this project. We got to get it started. We can't beat it to death. We understand we're against a timeline.
But we were against the timeline before, and now we're against the timeline again, so
Which
it
is
seems
what-
to be a pattern I would like to see us
I don't
stop.
think it's a pattern, because when I came to the last commission meeting, we tried to get this approved, and it wasn't
No, I'm
approved.
talking about the
So-
grant before the $1.2 million.
What grant before the $1.2 million?
No, the grant of $1.2 million.
The grant of the $1.2 million was
Basically
no
in the
one's fault
emergency
that it-
situation.
The grant of the $1.2 million, as you can recall, before you were elected, Techno Marine walked away with our money. That put us behind. And then we had to go with a special ordinance to have me go out and find vendors to do that project. That was no fault of the city's or no administrator's fault. It was the
Okay.
fault that we had a contractor
But
that walked away.
I understand that,
So
but
that
what I'm
wasn't a
saying is
timeline.
that if that happened, and we know that's a possibility of happening, the sooner that we can make things come together, then the less chance we have of having a problem here at the end.
I agree with that. I agree with that, Commissioner.
I think one of the things that we do also need to take in consideration, because, I haven't worked on a grant that's this large, but in South Carolina, one of the things that we had to be cognizant of because of our limited budget with working with the school district is sometimes these things are on a repay. If you don't have, you have to almost have it in order to move forward, with the project. So I'm not trying to educate you, but I do know, just so that misinformation does not, get out to the public. There are sometimes our budget may not necessitate us being able to do the work prior to it, because it's based on a reimbursement
No,
time.
I'm sorry if that's what you thought I said. That's not what I meant. I meant that going out for a bid and getting a contractor set and ready to go contingent upon the money coming in.
But you don't know
Not-
when the money, that's the problem. You don't know when that wire transfer is going to take place. So if you commit bid dates, project start time dates, and it's a state grant, then you gotta have the money in the bank to get started. But if you get that money late, then you're not out of context with those dates. So you just can't project that by doing a bid early, because you just don't know when that wire transfer is gonna take
You
place.
can't write this kind of thing, an RFP
That's not-
can't be
that- but
written
that-
contingent upon?
That's not how the state
I'm
gives out
asking the attorney,
grants.
hon.
But that's not how the
Excuse me.
state gives out grants.
I think the manager's correct.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So you can't?
I don't think so. I wouldn't advise it.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Any additional question, Commissioner? Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes.
Commissioner Boland,
Yes?
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Resolution 2019-28 passes by unanimous vote. Now we will move to entertain Resolution 2019-29. City Attorney.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Florida, approving the attached professional services contract for the provision of legal services between the City of Pahokee and Bernadette Norris Weeks, PA, attached hereto as Exhibit A, providing for an effective date.
Thank you, City Attorney. City Commissioners, having had Resolution 2019-29 properly read into the minutes, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer a motion that we accept Resolution 2019-29 for our consideration this afternoon.
Second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Everett and properly seconded by Vice Mayor Mervin for the adoption of Resolution 2019-29. At this time, I call for questions.
Of course, I have a couple. Okay. Does this contract include, cover us if you go litigation for us as well?
I think that issue was addressed in the last meeting.
Oh, sorry, I
I
didn't remember.
I did include it. It's kind of
Okay.
unusual, but
Yeah.
I did include it, and we
Okay.
are actually involved in some litigation that you have right now.
Yeah, that's why I was asking. I just wanted to make sure. Okay. And then it says Exhibit A, and is that the contract itself?
Yes,
Exhibit A?
ma'am.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Just to be clear, we, per prior commission meeting, and I guess that's why I didn't have any questions regarding it, wasn't it agreed that she was going to assume the same legal agreement that we had with prior attorney, right? Okay,
Yes, sir.
all right, thank you.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Boland,
Yes?
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, staff. This motion passed by unanimous vote. Now we would allow comments from the citizen if there's any comments cards completed.
No, sir.
None, Mayor.
I didn't have any completed. I didn't know we was gonna be allowed. I was kinda caught up. I don't wanna just ask for a simple question. Really though. That's all. I'm really caught up. If I need to, I just want, thank y'all. Okay. Thank y'all so much. Well, everybody here, I think know me. My name Crystal Bruce, Crystal with a C. I live at 8860 Seville Street, Pahokee, Florida. Yeah, 33476. But anyway, I came to the special meeting because y'all know I'm an LLC and I'm recording. And one question that I just wanted, I don't really want to, I asked this question because it kind of ties into what Mr. Colvin said. Like, I know like things going on, things happen, we go through things. I get past things, I don't stay stuck. But as Commissioner Everett said, it is a lot that's happening in the community. And my job and my point is not to sit and give nobody misinformation, okay? And my job is not to be against Pahokee as a whole, because at the end of the day, I still live here. What's good for Pahokee is good for all of us. As I told the mayor coming,
At the end of the day, I know a lot of people see stuff, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna speak how I feel. But I'm with Pahokee. And at the end of the day, like I told Keith, I'ma still respect y'all. Y'all my leaders, but I'ma speak how I feel. Y'all in the public. But I kind of agree with what Mr. Colvin said. And, you know, like, we probably should reconsider hiring Brandon Bird back. I ain't telling y'all what to do. I ain't telling y'all how to do it. I wasn't happy, a lot of people, but guess what? At the end of the day, y'all still the leaders. And I told Keith this, he can about. I might not agree with everything, but if I vote and people over me, I'm just gonna trust and believe things that I don't understand, that y'all know what's best and y'all making the best welfare for me. But things when I know and I got facts and I got stories and I don't run them, because I know we need all the positive stuff, but I have to tell the citizen things. But anyway, the question was basically that, are we really gonna move forward with the Marina? Are we really, really in a good place with the Marina? Are we really in a good place? I'm asking y'all before Mr. Lambert, because y'all just need to talk to me. I'm for Pahokee. I got a lot of things that people see, and people get mad with me, but at the end of the day, I live here, and what's good for Pahokee, good for all of us. Now, I ain't too crazy about her, but it ain't nothing personal as the attorney. I just know you because I know from Broward County, but I ain't saying nothing bad.
You can say anything you want to say.
Okay,
Excuse
but
me, Mr.
anyway,
Mayor.
we good with the Marina?
Yeah, we're good with the
Okay,
Marina.
thank y'all, and I'm all right, y'all. I ain't mad with nobody. I
Please
love
share
y'all.
anything you
I
have.
love y'all. I ain't mad with you, sister. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, then. Thank y'all.
That's all.
Okay. Thank you for those comments. Now we'll entertain any comments concerning of the city commission. And I'm gonna just start first, and then have a mayor report. So just make a few quick comments. One is for the RFP for legal services. There's nothing that would prevent our previous city attorney from applying for the job. It's a request for proposal for legal services. So as well as anyone else that is interested in serving as our legal attorney. Secondly, the Marina is on task, is on time. There have been some setback. The contract has been on the governor's desk waiting on their consideration. So this commission is certainly not putting up any roadblocks in this agreement that I'm aware of moving forward. And those are my two comments that I wanted to make. I will start now with Commissioner Bolden.
Thank you. Okay, I guess I want to make a motion that we go out for, what did you call it, RFL?
RLI.
RLI? Okay, what does that stand for?
Request for letters of interest.
Okay. For the attorney?
You already made a motion. That has already been passed at the last
Oh,
meeting.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, I forgot.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's all. I don't really have anything else to say.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Avery.
Okay. I do have a comment to make, and I think I made mention of this at our last commission meeting with regards to the renovated field. It seemed like the pulse of our community scats on different subjects, but I think it's worth staff. I suggested to staff, and maybe we can entertain a motion. We're getting a fencing installed, but I was also suggested for staff to let's come up with some type of protocol, because I think one of our responsibilities is to make sure that we're providing services for all of our citizens, and I just don't want people because of political unrest in our community to take certain things and misrepresent the aims and the goals of this commission. And it's not to alienate anyone from the usage of the field. So maybe if my colleagues agree, because no one commissioner can act for this city, it has to be an agreed decision, but I think it's worth our consideration moving forward. And I know we're not meeting for this, but just to put this in the back of your minds about coming up with some type of protocol so that our Hispanic community doesn't get fed lies or any other misleading information with regards to their using the football field for soccer. If we can come up with some type of protocol,
Commissioner
if
Everett,
one is not in place.
there's no protocol for use of city services. I've already addressed the soccer conversation. Moving forward, I'll address it at the next commission meeting, but we have a good plan for that. There's no need for a motion or any type of discussion of protocol. I've had some discussions with that community, and we're working on a couple of things that we think will work well for our folks who are interested in playing soccer here in the city of Pahokee. So we got a plan that we're working on, but can't devise most of it right now until we get some cost analysis in place. But we're working on a good solution for that.
My only, and I appreciate that. My only concern is to make sure that we're not, you can't help what people say. You can't control that. Grandmama say, just don't give them the paint to paint you with. So the only thing that I'm asking from staff is, as you just stated, that you will bring a plan. We just don't want to give any credence to what the street committee is saying with regards to the field. I mean, I think it was kind of common sense that they couldn't play on the field while it was being renovated, but now that it has, the renovations have now ended, I think, we do owe them an explanation as how we're going to proceed moving forward, because we don't want anyone to feel like they're being alienated.
All right.
Commission.
Commissioner Brandon Irvin, that's right, because they do have misinformation out there. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
They do have misinformation, and that field was not finished. Somebody manipulated that. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, 'cause they hear you. Thank you.
And if I could, Commissioner Everett, just to piggyback off your conversation and your comments, I know there have been a lot of criticism of Pahokee City Commission borrowing money for the football field. But just for the record, and I think it has been stated several times, the money did not come out of general funds. It's our surtax money. And if you take what Belgrade Field cost, it was twice as much as what we're paying for our field. Matter of fact, the field in Belgrade is $3 million, but our residents are complaining or criticizing a field that was less than $1 million, which is your right. But even Palm Beach County saw fit and saw such a need for certain and the Orange Bowl put in the other 1.5. Of course, Belgrade didn't have to put in any of their money, basically a grant to them. And I know where that was most of the criticism, that we didn't utilize grants. And there's some things that we're just not successful in getting grants for everything. But I just wanted to put that out for the record, that we did the same thing that the city of Belgrade did at a very lower cost than what they actually had to pay for their field.
Well, the only thing the only thing that I was wanting to specifically speak to was, when you have your ears to the ground and people bring you concerns, I think, as some people may not think it matters, but it obviously matters to some, because concerns are brought to us maybe secondhand, or they may be brought to us directly. And when you hear rumors and misnomers going out in the community, what we spent, how it was covered, to me, that's water under the bridge. And I would even hope some of the critics for the field would even bring their children or grandchildren out to play on the field, part of the league. But I just didn't want the Hispanic community to feel that they're being alienated or not allowed to play on the soccer field, because whether we want to own it or not, because a lot of times people don't own what they say, because for whatever reason, that information was out in the community, and I just wanted to make sure that the city makes takes a concerted effort to make sure that that community feels as much a part of the field now that it has been renovated. They don't feel as if they're being left out. And maybe, another thing that I heard a concern about was goals. Although there weren't soccer goals on the previous field, maybe we can look at, since it's renovated now, if we can add some soccer goals moving forward. And so something that we might can consider for our next commission
Yeah.
meeting. But I do want to clear up that there weren't any soccer
Yeah.
goals.
And soccer
on
goal
the
is just a
previous-
big net, so
Yes.
that shouldn't, we should be able to hopefully find the funds to do that, to make sure that happens. That's a good point. In additional comments, Commissioner?
Well, that was just my main and only concern about protocol for usage of the field.
Thank you, sir. Vice Mayor Mervin?
I have nothing there. Y'all brought up the topics.
Thank you, ma'am. Having no further business to bring forth, I adjourn this meeting. Thank you for coming.